technically it's morning and technically it's Tuesday, but whenever you're watching this, welcome back to my channel. We talk all things fitness, mindset, health, but most importantly, the enjoyment of life integrated with your fitness journey. Today, I want to talk about a little of what I eat in a day, and most importantly, show it to you. Most importantly, teach you what you need to learn. And of course, I could go hours and hours, but we're going to keep it short, precise, concise. We're going to keep it simple and straight to the point. So let's dive in. So I already did my breakfast. I'm sorry, I completely forgot that I needed to record this. But it doesn't matter, don't worry, because tomorrow I'm going to be able, which I remembered something. Give me a wait. Give me a wait. Talk a little bit about the breakfast. So regardless if I'm eating it today or tomorrow, it usually stays the same, so that's why I'm not too worried. So of course, protein, carbs, and fat. I usually like to stick with my breakfast where, oh my god, I have a book. I usually like to stick with my breakfast where it is easy, short, simple, but most importantly, very, very nutritious. And the reason why I say this is because my days tend to change. For example, I might be able to have a certain to-do list, but 90% of the time that to-do list does not go by hand and usually end up having to do more things that I wasn't expecting to. And I really don't have the creativity to sit down, make a really big meal, and most importantly, get very creative with it. So that's why I like to do personally my breakfast. That's when I like to make sure I'm having majority of my veggies, majority of my things that sometimes during the dinner can get a little bit neglected just because I am either too busy, too tired to make a really big abundant meal. I don't want to go to bed knowing that I didn't hit the marks that I would have wanted to hit. So, and believe me, this comes from a lot of trial and error, a lot of past experiences. Most importantly, I am not perfect, and it's taken me a lot of self-awareness to realize, I'm creating this mistake over and over and over again of going to bed, not having the food that I need to have, not only for myself, but like for my body, for my health. So I realized something was not clicking. So that is why personally, and this is something that I just love, is to hit a lot of my marks in the breakfast time. So that is why I go into that. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My amazing breakfast bowls. I actually love them so much. I cannot get enough of them. I don't ever get tired of them. And most importantly, it's because it is something that I enjoy eating. And that is something that many of us take for granted. We think that we need to always switch it up. We need to think, or we think that we need to always create the best, newest thing. And sometimes it is good to just stick to what you know, stick to what you like, stick to easy rather than overcomplicating it. Start with a batch of potatoes. I love to use the kitchen for me, not against me. So I use as much equipment as I can to have and be making the food or cooking the food while I do other things, such as prepping the other food or getting ready for the day, washing my face. I make sure that I do have carbohydrates because I just exhaust them. I want to replenish them. I want to have the fiber for the day. I want to make sure I have energy for my day. I create a lot of things. I create a lot of content. I talk a lot. My brain is always around all these things. So it's important for me to be in my full capacity and not like all sluggish and tired. So that is why potatoes on deck. And I am currently eating the brand ROYO. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is spelled ROYO, and they offer bagels and bread, like sliced sandwich bread. It has personally been my go-to. They're so good. I have a discount, DOM10, that you can have a really good discount. Their ingredients have, if I'm not mistaken, been the best ingredients that I've seen for bread. They're really affordable, and they're such a nice family-oriented company, so definitely check them out. But those are my two main carbohydrate sources. Then I go into protein, wanting to get that protein in for the day. Personally, myself, I have a mark of protein that is a little bit high, so as many protein sources that I'm able to obtain in my food is less that I need to drink it up in a protein shake. Not that that's bad by any means. I like to eat my protein over to drink it. So I cook my protein. My main sources of veggies kind of go on either what I want for the time, or what I need to kind of like get rid of, or what I want to start experimenting. Currently, I'm in the mushroom experimenting mode. Mushrooms are so good for you. I don't think we eat nearly enough that we should, but I am very picky about mushrooms, so I'm getting to experiment a little bit about them, getting to taste them in my food, see how I want to cook them, combine this plate with different veggies and a leafy green. So if it's either spinach or kale, I feel like lettuce doesn't really would combine good into this bowl. So either on deck is my spinach and my kale. Great sources of magnesium, and something that we don't really get enough in our current food supply, in our current food industry. We don't really get nearly enough of magnesium as we should. So I love to compact it and build it up around the spinach and the kale, always making sure that I have a leafy green. Not to mention that depending on the goal that you have, you can alter your ingredients. You don't have to eat necessarily the same quantities that I do, but I have noticed that even if I'm cutting, oh, you're seeing some sun right now, even if I'm cutting, bulking, whatever the case is, I can keep my ingredients but just alter their quantity. So for example, if I'm losing calories because I'm cutting and I want to stick with my same plate, I don't have to eliminate my potatoes. What I can do instead is decrease the quantity of potatoes and increase the quantity of the spinach and the kale. Why do I do this? Because it's going to give me much more volume to my plate, and it's going to allow me to feel fuller, be more content throughout the day, and not necessarily having to eliminate an entire food group, such as carbohydrates, such as people who do keto. So then, as I mentioned, going to my veggies, my protein. My preferred protein source is turkey sausage, and I do combine this with eggs, both amazing source of protein but also great sources of fat. If I want to top it up and add a little bit more fat in omega-3, I do add avocado. However, I'm really picky around this because if I know that I'm gonna have a very high fat lunch or a very high fat dinner, I make sure that I'm not adding too much fat in my breakfast. That way I'm able to kind of like counterbalance this and not go over too much on my fat. This is an easy, simple breakfast that I love to do. There's not one day that I do not eat this. And because I mentioned that we're able to alter the ingredients, I know that I'm not going to be depleted in other micronutrients or in other areas because I can always alter it. I can always change the vegetables, I can always change the ingredients, but the foundation remains the same. Also, accompanying with me on my walk, I need to do 10,000 steps. So we're going to get there. I was hopeful that during this little walk I could show you some animals because there's always animals around here. But so far no luck. Just wait, maybe we will have some luck. As I promised, I am showing you my Wednesday breakfast. So I didn't really change at all from what I ate yesterday. For example, my carbs are here, my bagels here, potatoes, my turkey, spinach, everything remained the same. I did add some Irish butter to my bagel. Irish butter is, in my opinion, the best butters that you can possibly obtain. Doesn't carry much of the negative properties of other butters. So personally, Irish butter is a go for me. I'm gonna dive deep into this because I am starving and I hope you like it. Okay, so I'm back at the house. It's gonna be about 2 p.m. I ate breakfast around 9 a.m. So you can see it's a big gap between each other. Of course, I did have my coffee, so that's also gonna suppress a little bit of your appetite. But despite that, it's pretty big gap from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So what am I gonna do? Right now, I'm going to have, by the way, as I was recording my walk and video, my battery died. So that's why you're seeing me now in this environment. Let's continue. So now I'm gonna go for my protein shake, my Legion. So I know roughly what I'm going to be having for dinner, and I know that it's not gonna give me enough protein to hit my target. So that's why I'm gonna have 2 scoops of my Legion protein shake. So if you're wanting to have some or try it out, I do have a discount WSF and it will give you 20% off. And okay, so now we have our last meal of the day. I made ground turkey, very lean ground turkey, but still with some fat content, spaghetti, or I think these are like penne, you know what I mean. So I did that with a little bit of sauce. I do, and I am very careful with the sauce that I buy. If I have yet to make my own, my goal is to make my own pasta sauce. Fingers crossed soon. But if I'm not doing that, then I'm still making sure that I'm checking the ingredient list for those pasta sauces that I do buy. That way at least I know that I'm able to manage what's going around in that area, especially just because nowadays there's just so much around with the food that we're buying, and it's very important to check the nutrition label. So I'm gonna eat this up and I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about this meal. So let's talk about the meal. I finished up, I am currently at 1,800 calories, which is my reverse dieting calories. Like I mentioned, or I don't think I've mentioned it here, I mentioned it in my podcast, so if you haven't listened to it, definitely make sure, because I do talk about my reverse dieting strategy. But I'm currently at 1,800. Of course, like I mentioned, all my calories are going strictly to my carbs, a little bit on my fat, but mostly my carbs because my protein has not been touched. As you can see, I ate a lot today, and I would say a lot considering that my calories are still very, very low. I finished my meal, and I truthfully am not hungry, not starving. I'm completely content with where I'm at, and I don't really have room for my snacks at the end of the night, but at the same time I'm okay because I'm very, very content and I'm very, very full. Another thing that I like is that I did a very abundant and heavy carb meal. Carbs in nighttime are super good for the production of your melatonin, which is your it's perfect to put you in a zen environment, to allow your body to just to do that. So that's why I always like to do, and it's 7 o'clock. I would consider it a little bit late for myself in regard of like eating, but it's still very, very far away from my sleeping window that I'm not going to have any issues with my digestion or anything like that, where I can't like sleep or I have any issues around that area. So I'm really, really excited that I was able to create this video, a little bit of what I eat in a day. I am unfortunately cannot record the actual process of me cooking just because there wasn't really enough room to place the camera, so I'm gonna need to find a better strategy of how to do that. But of course that is not going to be the end of the videos. Stay tuned and maybe I can take you along to make some food with me. But yeah, I hope you liked today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Comment below anything that came out that felt I needed to hear that. I recently had a conversation with a client and a friend, and we were talking just how it's why is there still the need for us to look for or obtain a body that is not for our age. I think something that us females need to understand is that our bodies will never be the same from when we are 12, 17, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Our bodies will adapt and our bodies will change. It's because of our hormones. Our hormones will fluctuate a lot during the years, and sometimes our body has to adapt with that as well. Not to mention if we're running some issues with digestive system, or if we're running any issues, for example, like impaired menopause, and so on. We can really dive deep into that conversation. But something that I really enjoyed listening from her side of view, like for the client side of view, not only the coach side of view, is that she resonated so much with why am I trying to obtain a body of a 20-year-old when I'm not 20. So really embodying that, most importantly, that age. I am this years old and I'm proud and I love my body for it. To allow yourself to start enjoying food. No longer see it this as like restriction or limited, or just having these negative emotions associated with food. I think it's amazing, but most importantly with the self-image of recognizing, yes, I am not that body type because I am not that age. I'm a woman. I cannot expect to have a girl's body, right? We can really dive into that. So I encourage you with this video for you to find a little inspiration in the kitchen, but also find a little inspiration in you being able to open yourself more for food variations, open yourself up more for calories, for you to view them no longer as calories but actually energy and fuel, and for you to open yourself up more, because I used to be the same person that cooking is hard, making food for myself is hard, I have no idea what to create, I have no idea what to do, I rather just kind of like starve in a way. And that's not the mission that we're looking for to do here in this channel. Most importantly with Wellside Fitness, our mission is to share to you that we can eat and we can go through our life and we don't have to put our health in the back burner. So if you found something that resonates with you, if you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up. Comment below anything that you have felt inspired of hearing or seeing. And make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed. I will see you next time. Bye.